Oh, perfect. All right. Today I am going to start the stream, and I am going to try to make this biker jacket in Clo 3D following this tutorial from GRMNT. Alright, here we go.
Slightly above the middle line or slightly below the middle line or all the way down, all the way up, right? You're gonna see that the notch goes into a different position. This notch here tells us where we're starting the sewing line, and the rest of the segment is where we're ending it. So if we have the cursor down, we start from the base.
Alright, first I need to get the avatar. So it's going to avatar, male. I think all of those default avatars has the same proportion. So I'm just gonna go with the first one. Ooh, pretty. Here we go, here we go.
We sew it from the base all the way to the top. If we start from the top, vice versa, okay? And what I want to do now is to press click once, and then when I'm going to the connecting segment, what I need to pay super close attention to is to make sure that if I started from the top, I want to make sure that I'm also connecting it from the top on the opposite segment. That's the main trick to it. So I kind of did this in order to throw you off. But if you are...
I think there's something weird with my YouTube stream. Oh, never mind. Okay, it's working. Alright, so for this video, I think they're going through like very basic close settings first to get people who've never done this, never using the software, some understanding of the UI. I might just fast forward this part because I have used it before.
The piece is not connected anywhere else aside from here on the sides. So
yes,
naturally, since it's not tight on the body, it's dropped towards the floor. That seems very natural, right? It makes a lot of sense. If we did this in the real world, exactly the same thing would happen. Now I'm gonna press Control Z.
I mean, so the first step are usually just get your fabric ready. Try this. Okay. Look normal. There we go. Press N for sewing. So. Oh crap. There we go.
Put some straps, right? You can create a strap connected from here.
Simulate, and it's not working.
The top segment from the
It's Nothing is
panel to the
connected.
top segment to the back
Okay.
panel. How can we do it? Let's try exactly how we did the sides. I'm gonna press N.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Stella.
make sure that my sewing line is parallel.
Stella,
So
yes,
we don't want to have
I
this
can see
kind
the
of
chat.
overlap. We want to make sure that the cursor is positioned properly. And I'm gonna click again. I'm gonna press simulate and let's see what happens.
Yes.
This is super interesting, isn't it? But this is one of the major differences between Flow 3D and reality. Because check what actually happened here.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult because I'm also like playing the tutorial.
But rather, this is what we call
I haven't really thought about this through.
avatar disappear, even though it's still there for the simulation. And check this out. Even though the hand was going through, apparently through the seam line, in reality, it's not. It's still perfectly sewn together. And if I start the simulation now, you're gonna see it in full effect. I'm gonna stop the simulation now. I'm gonna bring back the avatar by going in this menu. The first option brings it back. And now, let's try and figure out what we need next. Let's say that we want to actually take this area where the head is poking
Am I
through.
being locked on?
And we want to create an actual hole, an actual opening. How can we achieve that? Well, check this out. I'm gonna press B. I'm gonna now select the sewing line from the top. And I'm simply gonna start dragging it towards this side. And I'm not gonna do a precise amount now. I'm just gonna drag it so, I don't know, it goes over to this side of the shoulder. Then I want to grab this sewing line from the back panel. And if I start dragging it, I'm gonna notice immediately that Flow 3D tells me where I need to stop my sewing line in order to match it perfectly with the one I have here. So this blue dot actually shows up to help you make sure that you have perfect sewing lines. I'm gonna drag it all the way to here, release, and check what happens here. I'm gonna simulate again. It kind of has an opening, but the reason why this is happening, why it's still connected on the sides, is because we still have collision. So the arm is actually poking through the t-shirt, but it's not actually going through. It's only a weird collision. Again, if I make the avatar visible, you're gonna see
we're in the first step, designing the body block.
Maybe we should be introducing holes there, shouldn't we?
Okay.
How do we do that? Well, let's try this. I'm gonna press B, and I want to grab the sewing line and simply drag it down on this side. I'm gonna bring back the avatar, simulate, and check what happens. We have an opening here. The arm is still not going correctly through, but I can simply drag it while the simulation is running. So make sure that you look in this upper corner. While the simulation is running, you can pinch it and drag it up like this. Okay? And now it's kind of resembling a garment. It's not a good one. It's very primitive in shape. It's not gonna work. If we were to sew these together, it would be the most uncomfortable garment. But it's starting to kind of look like one. Let's try and do exactly the same thing on the opposite side. So I'm pressing B, grabbing this sewing line, gonna drag it down. I'm not gonna be super precise with it at this stage because this is only for showcase purposes.
Right. I think I'm gonna.
We don't yet. It's great for demonstration purposes. In order to make sure that we're applying it to both panels, instead of dragging dirt and doing it or to loop it 7, where it's red. We're also noticing another issue which has to do with the back panel here. And without getting too technical, what you usually want to see is the white layer when you're in the monochromatic view, this part of the neck towards this side. If we're unhappy, maybe we can go a tiny bit lower. So if we wanted to press Z, opposite shoulder, over here. So maybe we should be introducing holes there, shouldn't we? How do we do that? Well, let's try this. I'm gonna press B, and I want to grab the sewing line and simply drag it down on this side. I'm gonna bring back the avatar, simulate, and check what happens. We have an opening here. The arm is still not going correctly through, but I can simply tape. It's not gonna work. If we were to sew these together,
Trying to understand what he's doing.
But it's starting to kind of look like one. Let's try and do exactly the same thing on the opposite side. So I'm pressing B, grabbing this sewing line, gonna drag it down. I'm not gonna be super precise with it at this stage because this is only for showcase.
So I think free sewing.
And check this out. Now it makes
Here
a
to
lot of sense.
here.
We've
Here
only
to
connected one
here.
shoulder. The other one is
Okay.
open, but now at least we have openings for both arms. So if you wanted to create a sewing
No,
line
no,
on the
no, no, no.
opposite shoulder, you would
No.
want to press M. We don't yet care about the value. Let's
This is terrible. Alright. So I'm gonna try to sew the shoulders. Here we go. No. Go back. Simulation and fail. Okay. There we go. So they're just doing the basic body block for the video, and I do think I need some kind of hole, like a sleeve here. Okay. Here for B. I think it's the A4 line. Moving it down a little bit. Perfect. To get a symmetric. There we go. Okay. Sick.
do around 150. Okay, click. And then we want to make sure that we're connecting it to the front panel as well. Press Q in the 3D window, space in order to simulate. And there we have it. The most primitive. I don't even know. Is this a t-shirt? What the heck would it be?
Huh.
It's not functional, but it's great for demonstration purposes.
Right.
I want to go into fabric, and I'm gonna look for
Free
a very
sewing.
stiff fabric. One
Sick.
that doesn't have any stretch whatsoever.
I also need to move the side sewing as well. So it creates kind of like a hole here. There we go. Perfect. It's my masterpiece. Okay. Fabric.
I highly recommend that you type in denim.
Dun, 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 dun. Fabric.
Just open up the denim.
Why is the UI so different for 2025? Okay. Maybe I can display viewpoint, 2D pattern, 3D pattern, window. Reset to default, right?
And raw. In order to make sure that into
So I'm missing the
I don't even know.
library. Okay. Display window library. There we go. Yeah, come on. Get that shit in there. What is this? Revert to previous library. Yes. Okay. This looks better.
Oh, is this a t-shirt? What the heck would it be? It's not functional,
Okay.
but it's great for demonstration purposes.
Fabric. There
I
we go.
want to go into fabric, and I'm gonna look for a very stiff fabric, one that doesn't have any stretch whatsoever, and I highly recommend that you type in denim.
Denim.
And just open up the denim raw. In order to make sure that we're applying it to both panels.
Am I spelling wrong? DNIM. Yeah, what the fuck? Between fabric page. Okay.
Instead of dragging it to both panels individually, we can simply drag it here in the object browser and apply it to the currently existing fabric, the one that was created by default when we made the square. Leave it there, and now you're gonna see that both of them have been replaced.
Denim
Another way
raw.
of doing it is, of course, to select both pattern pieces and then drag on top the denim raw. If I simulate, I'm not gonna be able to tell if this tight or too loose, how it's fitting. Guess what? There is a way to actually tell.
Huh.
I'm gonna go here and look for this option here. It's called the strain map, Alt plus 7. I'm gonna click on it, and now when I have strain
Where is
map,
it?
Alt.
String map? You also said Alt plus 7 for the quick key. Oh, I see.
Plus 7. I'm gonna click on it, and now when I have a look at the garment, I'm gonna be able to immediately tell that some things are wrong. This area kind of works because it's sitting currently in the green to blue area.
Okay, I think it's just only in the neckline. That's a bit tight.
Territory, even yellow is a bit problematic with denim bra because it does not have any stretch. So it's already super tight here. But this, where it's red, it's telling us that the fabric would literally be tearing into the avatar. We're also noticing another issue which has to do with the back panel here. And without getting too technical, what you usually want to see is the white layer. When you're in the monochromatic view, you want the white layer facing the exterior of your garment, and you want the gray towards the interior. So
Right.
again, if I made the avatar invisible, I'm gonna see the gray here. I want the white towards the exterior. This is good. But if I bring the
Shift
avatar
A.
back, I can see that the back panel is not correct. The way to fix it is to select the component, right click on it, and do flip normal. Awesome. And now the issue is becoming apparent on the back panel as well. So there's actually a lot of things that we need to fix before we can even call this a basic t-shirt block. The very next thing is to make sure.
Alright, I'm actually gonna save this first, so I don't lose my mind later. Streaming. Okay. Biker jacket. Sick. Du, 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 du. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Alright.
That when I'm sewing the right side of the body, I want to have exactly the same sewing line on the left side of the body. I don't want to do it twice. I don't want to have to go through perfect measurements every single time. The solution is called symmetry. I'm going to press A on my keyboard. I want to select the back panel, the front panel, and I want to drag them from this side here. Okay? And as I am dragging, I'm not going to release my mouse, but instead, I want to press my right click. Boom. And this is going to show up.
Wait, what is happening?
Okay, tree. I'm going to press A on my keyboard. I want to select the back panel,
A,
front panel. I want to drag them from this side here. Okay, and as I am dragging, I'm not going to release my mouse, but instead, I want to press my right click. Boom. And this is going to show up with something called a percentage. Let's make the percentage 50%, so we have exactly the same garment. We're just going to have to reconfigure it. I'm pressing enter on my keyboard, and now it's completely
probably change
up.
this as well.
If I were to simulate now, check what happens. I'm going to press space.
Sick.
Don't do it, but check what happens.
Woo!
It's completely ruined. It doesn't make any sense.
What was his size?
We're just going to have to
Width is 250. Width was 250. Okay. 250, 50%. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I guess it's different sizing. Never mind. Okay, I'm just gonna find a percentage until it's like 250, I guess. 36, 35. Yeah, give or take. Cool.
Figure it. Pressing enter on my keyboard, and now it's completely messed up. If I were to simulate now, check what happens. I'm going to press space. Don't do it, but check what happens. It's completely ruined. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I'm going to press Control Z to go back to the state that I was at. I want to press Z, and I want to select this segment line here. Right click, and I'm gonna do unfold symmetric editing with sewing. So what this
Boom.
achieved on the surface level symmetric editing with sewing.
Z. Unfold symmetric editing with sewing. Okay.
So what this achieved on the
I feel like I also need to take notes for this. Oh. The Balenciaga. What is that thing called? Unfold symmetric editing with sewing. Okay. Oh, so I guess you basically duplicate a piece and you like automatically sew it together.
It's exactly the same thing, right? We're back to the panel that we started from, but it has one very clear distinction. Check what happens if I grab one of the segment points
I
and
see.
I start moving it around. You can see that the opposite one,
Magic.
is also getting modified. Let's now do that for the front panel as well. Press Z, select the segment, right click, unfold symmetric with
Reset.
editing. But now we still have a major issue, and it has to do with the sewing lines because they did not transfer properly.
It's all fucked up.
Older setup. After pressing B, I can do Control A, and this is gonna automatically select all of our sewing lines.
Pressing B and Control A. Okay.
Then I'm gonna press Delete on my keyboard. I'm gonna now press
Oh.
N, and I want to sew it. Again, we're doing exactly the same thing, but this time with the properly mirrored components. I want to sew it on the side, and as you can see, it's done it automatically on the opposite side as well. So this makes our life a lot easier. Now let's connect the shoulders. I'm gonna press M this time. I want to sew it starting from here. Okay, let's do around 114.4. And now when I can
Wait, what are you doing, bro?
connect it, okay, let's do around, I don't know, 114.4. And now when I connect it with the front panel, check what happens this time. So I'm clicking from the corner, taking it towards the neckline, click, boom.
Okay. Let's go M, custom sewing. It's 144. 114. Alright. Try to follow this as close as possible. And you're definitely here. Double click. Boom. It's wild.
Got replicated on the opposite side. Now I want to press B, and I'm gonna shift this sewing line down, right? So we have the armhole opening. Okay, perfect. And now I want to do it on the back panel as well in order to match our sewing lengths. Okay, I'm pressing Q in the 3D window. I'm gonna simulate.
Alright, fix this line to get the shoulder right. Ah. Alright. Wait. What is going on? This side. Huh. Not a fan of this orientation. Oh crap. am I doing? Where is this line? And found it. There we go. Ah, okay. I think this is bad. Fuck it. Save it.
Wait for it to clear. Okay, it worked perfectly, and we still have the same situation here. Very easy fix. Just stop the simulation, right click here, and I'm gonna do flip normal. So we have again the white component towards the exterior, the gray one towards the interior. You can see it here as I'm hovering over. If you're not seeing the white and the gray, because you're not in the
move
straight.
this.
Let's have a look at the viewers here before we proceed, so it kind of makes sense to everybody.
85 millimeter.
This one is the most common one when it comes to previewing your fabrics, previewing how the garment will look. This is kind of what you want to send over to your client or what you want to post on Instagram if you're doing the development stage. This one is the same thing. It has a texture but it's thin. You're not going to see much of a difference. It goes from gray to black in the interior. Cool. But if you have the avatar, you're not going to see a difference at all. And the reason is because the garment doesn't have much thickness at the moment. So I'm just going to do it for demonstration purposes. I'm going to press Control A, go into the property editor on the bottom right corner. And you're going to see here, add whatever the fuck Chloe meant with this, thickness for collision. And then there's thickness for rendering. And they are
add thickness for collision. Alright, so there's no thickness right now. But if wait, denim property. Where is it? Where is it? Thickness? No. Simulation property? Where did you find that shit?
meant with this thickness for
it's on the fabric. Fabric simulation property. Thickness for collision.
And then there's thickness
for rendering.
And they are different. I'm gonna select the option for rendering and I'm gonna do 2.5. So exactly the same value. I'm gonna press enter. And if you have a closer look here, make sure that you're paying attention as I'm switching between the thick and the thin. Right? Even though the simulation
At the difference. Wait, what's the difference? Thick. Ah, I see. Texture surface. Thick texture surface. Woo! Cool. Very cool.
We didn't change anything. This only has to do with how clothes are shown to us. The computer only sees the thickness for collision. We see the thickness for rendering. Awesome. Now that that is clear, let's keep going for the maps. The black and white one is the one that actually shows you where the normals are. So the dark gray that we want to the interior, the white that we want to the exterior. This one you don't use all the time, but it is quite helpful to know it for troubleshooting. This one is for transparent view. It does not change the fabric. It only changes for you to see what the hell is going on with the interior.
Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3, Alt 4, Alt 5, Alt 6.
You can imagine that it's quite helpful to see how much volume there is inside of your garment. The other ones, they're a bit specialty. Don't bother. Let's simply go back to the thick texture. For this viewer,
Thick texture.
go for the strain map. Guess what? It switches it automatically to the monochrome because it's very helpful. We want to make sure that we are seeing those markings. Let's go back to the default, the monochrome, and now let's start taking care of those problems. Which, like
Alt 6, monochrome.
That we're tearing the fabric. This is how tight it is, all right? This guy wouldn't be breathing. So how can we actually do that? Well, why don't we start by actually selecting all of our components and let's try to just make them bigger. If you enlarge them, the opening is going to be large. larger, so maybe the issue is gonna go away. I'm gonna press A and then Control A in my 2D window, and I want to start dragging. Make sure that you're grabbing from one of the corners. Not left and right, that's only gonna widen. Not up and down, that's gonna make it longer. If you grab it from the corner, that's gonna scale it. Check this out. So he's doing it both
Scale.
width and height. I want to right click as I'm dragging, and I'm gonna input a custom value. Let's do 115%. I don't even know if the measurements are right. I'm not bothered at all at this stage because we're only
Boom.
I'm gonna press space in order to simulate. Try to fix the collision. So he wants the arm through the armhole. Awesome. Let's do the same on the opposite side.
Awesome.
The redness has kind of gone away, not entirely, but we're just gonna keep adding. We're gonna do small iterations. Next thing I want to do, I'm gonna press B and I'll try to close the neckline up until this point here. So I'm looking at the 3D reference. I'm gonna grab the sewing line and I want to simply move the dot from the edge, move it in. This is the front panel. Now I want to move it on the back panel. Make sure that the seam line matches. And then I'm gonna simulate. It's closed up a bit, probably not enough. Let's keep going. So I'm gonna press B again, keep going up to this point. Here, keep going up to this point. Now when I simulate, I'm kind of getting an idea that the t-shirt is actually wrapping the body a bit tighter. But is there a way to actually shape this opening so it more naturally follows the body? Of course there is. Check this out. If I wanted to press Z and simply drag this point down, we're gonna notice that it actually disrupts the entire area. But what we want to do is to just start to create some sort of cut-in around this area. I would say the best way at this stage is to actually split the components, the front and back components, into two equal sides. I'm gonna press Z, select the two mirroring lines, hold down Shift, right click, and select Cut and Sew. And this is just gonna make our life easier. It's basically the same thing, it just
cut and sew
down the middle. But if you still want a singular panel, you can always merge them back together. And I'm gonna teach you how to do that a bit later. Now I want to make sure that I'm only affecting the area where my neck is. And in order to have control over our shape, I'm gonna press B. I want to select the sewing line, and I'm gonna right click and go for add point to pattern on end. Why on end? Because at the start we already have a point. The notch indicates the start of our sewing line. We need a point here. Right click.
Alright, let me fix the lens first. 99. What's the move?
Right click and go for add point to pattern on end. Why on end? Because at the start we already have a point. The notch indicates the start of our sewing line. We need a point here. Right click.
Add the point to pattern at the end.
Now when I press Z, I can notice I'm gonna go for monochromatic in the 2D window. I'm gonna notice that I have a point here. So if I want to start building my shape, I can simply drag this one down. I'm gonna control Z. Let's do exactly the same thing for the front panel. Right click, add a point on end. Awesome. If I simulate, nothing has changed, which makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Let's say that we want to carve out the opening, try to enlarge it here, right at the front. I'm gonna click in the 3D window, and if I click on any pattern piece, you're gonna see that this blue dot simply appears in the 2D window.
Okay.
If I do the opposite and click in the 2D window, nothing shows up here. Even if I select the pattern piece with A, it doesn't show up. That's just how it works. But we can use this to our advantage. We can have a look here at the neck. Let's try to create a point of reference and guide ourselves with it. So when I'm looking at the pattern piece, I know that I want to grab this point and simply drag it down about yay much. Cool. So press Z and let's bring it down to around this area. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Accidentally, or rather iteratively, we've created a V-neck. I'm gonna simulate again just to watch how much of a difference this makes. And you're gonna notice that, yeah,
Maybe lower.
kind of making a bit more sense. They're still super tight around the neckline, but it's not the biggest of issues. Let's try and do the same thing for the back. This time I'm gonna click around maybe yay much, right? So I can press Z and bring the point down. Let's simulate again. And
why would I need a V-neck for the back?
Becoming a tiny bit more wearable. But like I mentioned, when you're seeing the redness, it's not good. And this is why I'm using the denim rod, just because it's a super stiff fabric. What if I wanted to make this opening a bit rounded? How would I do that? Well, inside a clothes is actually quite easy, and it has nothing to do with those segment points. The black segment points we're simply going to leave as such. They form the main structure. In order to add curves, we want to add something called a curve point. So I'm pressing V on my keyboard, which opens up this tool here.
V for curve point.
Tool. I want to click just once, and it's simply going to create a red dot. If I press Z on my keyboard, that only allows me to edit segments and segment points. If I press V, then I also automatically get access to my curve point. So let's simply try and drag this point, something like this for now. So we're widening our opening. Maybe we're not as happy with...
Wait, is that the front?
But still, it's for now. So let's simply try and drag this point, something like this.
Okay. Watch the V. Oh shit. Am I doing it right? Fuck it. Oh no. That's some ugly stuff. There we go. Better.
For now. So we're widening our opening. Maybe we're not as happy with it still. Add another one in order to control the shape a tiny bit better. And now if I simulate, again, we're still on the super tight side, but we can keep iterating. Let's do exactly the same thing for the back. So
not bad.
Adding a curve point here. And I'm going to try to curve it just so when I'm attaching those panels together, I'm actually seeing a smooth transition between them. Now that I've simulated, I'm becoming a tiny bit happier. It's still nowhere near where it should be, but let's just leave it as such
not bad
for now, because the very next step is to try to widen the opening here around the arms. Let's try to follow exactly the same procedure. I'm pressing B. Now I'm getting access to my sewing lines, and maybe we should actually bring it down a tiny bit more. Let's do, I don't know, we can even use the right click trick as we're dragging.
B.
35. And make sure that we're matching it with the front panel as well. Now press Q and simulate the redness panel as well. 35. And make sure that we're matching
front panel. Also 35. Whoa. Something just happened. Okay. That's 100 and 100. Let's see. Whoa. Why is this so cool? So confused. What is freaking happening? Alright. I guess it's only 35?
Get with the front panel as well. Now press
Let's
Q
go up.
and simulate. The redness is almost gone. Around the neckline it's still super tight, but whatever. Let's try and move it up. don't
65.
have actually complete access over moving it up and freeing up the
Okay, not
tension
bad.
because this opening is kind of pushing the entire t-shirt down. So I'm gonna do it again. I want to press B. Let's move the sewing line even lower.
Jesus.
Right click, do 35. Make sure that we're matching it on the back panel just by grabbing one of the dots and dragging it down. I'm gonna simulate again, and you're gonna see just how much of an impact that actually had on the entire
Yes.
thing. Maybe we should go even lower, or maybe we should actually try to change our strategy. Because at the moment, the opening is, let me just get rid of the avatar. At the moment, the opening is a bit primitive in shape. Just like we rounded out the
Primitive.
hole around the neckline, maybe we should do it with the quilting manually. And
Oh, wait.
the same thing here.
Ah,
Just so, when I'm attack, click and select cut and sew. Now, fine.
I skipped to the wrong place.
By simulate, I'm becoming a bit here around. Do I don't know. We can even use the right click trick as we're dragging. Let's
Right.
do 35, and make sure that we're matching it with the front panel as well. Now press Q and simulate. The redness is almost gone. Around the neckline, it's still super tight, but whatever. Let's try and move it up. We don't have actually complete access over moving it up and freeing up the tension because this opening is kind of pushing the entire t-shirt down. So I'm gonna do it again. I want to press B. Let's move the center even lower. Right click, do 35. Matching it on the back panel just by grabbing one of the dots and dragging it down. I'm gonna simulate again, and you're gonna see just how much of an impact that actually had on the entire thing. Maybe we should go even lower, or maybe we should actually try to change our strategy. Because at the moment, the opening is, let me just get rid of the avatar. At the moment, the opening is a bit primitive in shape. Just like we rounded out the hole around the neckline, maybe we should do exactly the same thing for the armpit hole. Let me show you the best way to arrange the panels, just so it's easier to make sense of it all. I'm gonna press A. I want to grab the back panel, and let me simply position it here. Why did I do that? Well,
wait, what did you do?
panel, and then it's easier to make sense of it all. I'm gonna press A. I want to grab the back panel, and let me simply position it here. Why did I do that? Well, if I press B, I'm gonna see that those two sewing lines, they are one next to another. So it makes a lot of sense to actually have them like this. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing here. I want to bring back the avatar, and now we can even see the avatar in the 2D window. I don't know if you saw the outline up until this point, maybe you were not paying attention.
Perfect.
We can even move all of the components, shift them up a little, something like this. This time, instead of just moving the armpit hole lower, I'm gonna press B, and I want to introduce the same segment points that we did here for the neck. Let's try it. So add point to pattern on ends, right? Just like we did.
Add point to pattern.
For the shoulder, try it. So add point to
Add point to pattern on end. Perfect.
pattern on ends, right? Just like we did for the shoulder. And guess what? It didn't work. Why did it not work? Because this is the start of our sewing line. So when we want to introduce a segment point here, we need to right click, and we have to add a point to pattern on start, not on end. It's dynamic. You have to look at your situation. You have to understand what the problem is, and only then you can fix it. How do you think we can create a curve here? Let's try and do it in the 3D window, right? So say that we're cutting the fabric. We're going from here. Have a look at the 2D window. So we're cutting from here, going from here, and then we want to go up. And you can kind of see the shape being drawn here. So let's try it. I'm going to press V in order to get
V.
cool. So let's just do something like this maybe. Then I want to press B, go towards the back panel, right click, and I'm gonna add a point to pattern on start. That's correct. Now I'm gonna press V and make sure that I'm creating the same kind of cut-in. I want to move the panels closer together. And this is a very important rule that you're gonna come across over and over again. It's called the 180 rule, and it has to do with how they transition from one to another. So So when I'm looking at my sewing line here, I feel like I can smooth it out just a tiny bit further so the line flows even better. It's a very small adjustment, but in some situations, maybe not this one, it is going to make a world of a difference. Now,
Right. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm gonna press space in order to simulate, and guess what? The redness is almost entirely gone. We started from a square and now we ended up with this. Maybe we're not so happy with the fact that the shoulders are kind of.
What is this guy doing?
It's called the 180 rule, and it has to do with. Well, let's just do something like this in order to get access to my curve tool.
Okay.
Let's just do.
Point V. There we go. Get this curve. Okay.
Something like this maybe. Then I want to press B, go towards the back panel, right click, and I'm gonna
B, go towards the back panel. Okay, I already add the points. Very nice.
add a point pattern on start. That's correct. Now I'm gonna press V and make sure that I'm creating.
V. V, where are you? Alright. Crap. Okay. Almost symmetrical. Okay.
The same kind of cutting. I want to move the panels closer together.
Okay.
And this is a very important rule that you're gonna come across over and over again.
Boom.
It's called the 180 rule, and it has to do with how they transition
Damn.
from
That's
one
so
to
ugly.
another. So when I'm looking at my sewing line here, I feel like I can smooth it out just a tiny bit further, so the line flows
Right.
even better. It's a very small adjustment, but in some situations, maybe not this one, it is going to make a world of a difference. Now I'm gonna press space in order to simulate, and guess what? The redness
down.
is almost entirely gone.
Go
We
down.
started from a square and now we ended up with
Okay.
this. Maybe we're not so happy with the fact that the shoulders are kind of straight, right? They're going out from here. Maybe we want them to follow the body a tiny bit more. Not
Why is my shoulder dripping down?
actually. We want to go into the 2D window, and I'm going to use the translucent surface viewer. So same as we had here in the 3D window, multiple options for viewing the fabric, or rather the project that we're working on. The same thing we can do here. And in the
Thick. Thick. It's dripping down.
the 2D window, the transparent viewers in this stage are going to be extremely important for us. I've aligned the front panel with the actual abdomen. So now I can use the angle from the shoulder in order to simply select those two dots here. I'm going to hold down shift to make sure that I'm dragging both of them down at the same time, and on the vertical axis,
Shift.
and I want to simply do something like this. Okay? So they're following exactly the same shape as the shoulder.
Okay. Are you following the shoulder? Wait. Let me move this 2D window up a little bit. Okay. Follow the shoulders. Ooh. Ooh.
Of the avatar. So now we've actually removed a lot of the fabric. Let's simulate again, and we can now immediately notice that we've created
6.
some other issues here around the arm opening. If you've been paying
haven't.
maybe we should just lower those points here. In which case, you would be absolutely correct. Let's start dragging them down.
Uh-huh.
Let's just do 35 mil. Not necessarily because 35 is the correct answer, but let's just make sure that we're doing small iterations. If we're unhappy, maybe we can go a tiny bit lower. Simulate again. And there we have it.
35.
Now, you might be feeling like the neck opening is just that tiny bit tight. Especially when I'm looking from this profile, I kind of want it flow like this. Let's press in the 3D window and try to figure it out. Why don't we actually grab this point and extend it out? I'm gonna press Z, start moving this one out,
Okay.
right click as I am moving, and you're gonna notice that the dot gives you the option to actually not move horizontally at 45 degrees or vertically. If you actually align it with the original line that you're dragging it on, it's gonna show up in purple, it's gonna highlight, and then if I right click, I know for a fact that it's just gonna keep flowing on the same line. Let's do
22.
30 mil. And then let's do exactly the same thing.
30 mil.
So I can go here, type in 30 mil.
Back.
Perfect. Now let's simulate. And would you
30.
have a look at this? We actually started with something primitive.
Oh.
This, what we have here now, is kind of basic. Let's quickly address a few of the other features.
This is
like
basic.
We want to lengthen the body. Let's add an extra 80 mil, so 8 centimeters. Simulate again. This is starting to look kind of like a t-shirt. Maybe the opening is not large enough. You do want to have a bit of breathing room here. So I can press Z. I can start lowering this opening here. Let's say by 20. Simulate. And now we've completely released the tension. And you can see just how beautifully the garment actually flows.
Flow.
Making sure that here we have a smooth transition. Let's make sure that we're referring back to that 180-degree rule. Let's address first of all the connecting point here.
Flows.
Select this segment, hold down shift, select this segment, right click, match up to start. And now we can have a look at our transition. I can grab this point, maybe.
What is this?
Z, set re-roll. Let's address first of all the connecting point here. I can press Z, select this segment,
Z. Select this segment.
hold down shift, select this segment, right click,
Match up.
to start. And now we can have a look at our transition.
Start.
I can grab this point, maybe.
Let's see.
Like this. And now we're kind of in a pickle because we don't know by how much we need to rotate those panels to bring them back to the proper positioning. We can simply select them, scroll down into the property editor, and we have this option here, rain direction. We can press the reset button, select the other component, reset, boom, there we have it. Now they're perfectly vertical, easy to work on. And the very next step that I want to teach you is to strengthen the entire body. So
Wait, what did he do?
This option
Rotate
here,
it back. Fabric. Green direction, reset. Green direction. Perfect. Boom.
In direction. We can press the reset button, select the other component, reset, boom. There we have it. Now they're perfectly vertical, easy to work on. And the very next step that I want to teach you is to strengthen the entire body. So I'm gonna press Control A, Control H. I can even go into this menu.
Control A. Strengthen. Boom.
Here, hold down my left click, and I'm gonna do fitting accurate fabric. This is the kind of thing which is gonna make the entire simulation a bit more accurate, so it's easier to actually gauge. I want to press 5, and I want to make sure that my line here for the back panel is actually staying on the shoulder. That it flows from here, the center of my shoulder goes all the way out. Well, as you can kinda visualize, the line is a bit far back, isn't it? How can we move it so it's going from here to here? What if we actually cut select this segment on the shoulder line, right click, and I'll do offset as internal line. And I want to input, let's say 15, 20 mil. Have a look at the line and make sure that it is actually leading from this part of the neck towards this side. We could even go in and try to shift it.
Neckline. Offset. Offset. 20. Oh no, that's too much.
Let's have a look at the line and make sure that it is.
Offset maybe 12. Why is it going backwards? Huh.
Is actually leading from this part of the
Huh.
towards this side. We could even go in and try to shift it a tiny, tiny amount from here. There we go. And now it looks a lot better. I'm gonna press Z, right click on the internal line, and I'm gonna do cut and sew. Now if I press B, I can select the sewing line between the small component and the main back panel. I can right click and do merge. So what that did is it actually connected the small piece onto the back panel. Very easy, super intuitive to do, but it has created this black line and we want it gone. So I can press I or select the trace tool, select it, delete, select it, delete. This is just a sort of residual line and I don't encourage anybody to ever use baselines. I'm gonna press Z, select those 2 points here, right click and do convert to curve points. So when I press V, I can actually see only the red dots defining my feature. I can probably, I can delete those two, only leave 2 which do exactly the same thing. The easier you can define a shape, so using as few dots as possible, the better. If you overcomplicate it, once you have to actually do some editing, you're basically screwed. Now I want to simulate again, and as you can see, we're back to square one. But now, if I press A and align those panels one next to another, here where they do actually connect, the back shoulder line is slightly taller than the front shoulder line. And I think the best explanation for that is the fact that our head with the neck is actually sitting more towards the front than it is towards the back. You don't necessarily bend your head backwards that much, you only push it forward. And this is why the feature is actually defined like this. You just created the very first basic pattern block. And this is the baseline for every single top ever. If you know how to do this one, you can start to learn how to actually edit it and use it to develop any sort of design. Now let's open up the reference.
I see.
The actual silhouette. So before doing any more details, my main concern is to actually make it sit as you can see it here. It has to be quite oversized. The shoulders are super wide. The sleeves are
All right. Oh, thanks. How much would you sell it? I don't think I'm selling it. I'm just trying to learn to make it first digitally and go from here. Okay. I think this is it for the base body, and I'm gonna pause for now.